Would you please stand and join me in the salute to the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. As you know, we've just come out of executive session and there's some things we'll go over. Personnel code enforcement, that stays in. Contract negotiations, professional services, Chiesa, Shahinian, and Giantomasi, PC, special counsel. Do I have a motion on that, their contract?
I would make the motion to approve the contract with Chiesa, Shahinian, and Giantomasi.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call, Rita?
Mr. Brew?
Yes.
Mrs. Duffy? Yes. Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Trapello?
Yes.
Mayor Ford?
Yes. Contract negotiations, professional services, GRA Incorporated. Do I have a motion?
I'd make a motion to approve the contract with GRA for professional services for an amount not to exceed $15,385.
Do I have a second on that motion?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Burton?
Yes.
Mrs. Duffy? Yes. Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Trapello?
Yes.
Mayor Ford?
Yes. Contract negotiations, Block 34, lots 10 and 11, and Block 32, Lot 12, Flown at Readington. Do I have a motion on that?
I'd make a motion to give Sharon Dragon the authority to write to the DEP conveying our position with respect to the Permit Extension Act and notifying them of our intent to fill under the permits, unless we hear from them.
Do I have a second?
Second.
That's just all in favor. Yeah, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Attorney-client privilege, the executive session minutes from January 19th, 2016. Do I have a motion to approve for content only?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call? No. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Potential litigation, affordable housing, that stays in. Litigation, Block 48, Lot 23, Block 55, Lot 33, Block 56, Lots 1, 3, 6, and 8, Block 67, Lot 2, Solberg Aviation, that stays in. And litigation...
Madam Mayor,
yes.
if I might, going back to the contract negotiation of Block 34, lots 10,
Yeah.
it should be noted that that is lot 11. excuse
I
me.
read it, I corrected it online, but it should be corrected on the agenda, right? Thank you. Litigation, Solberg Aviation versus Readington Township, civil action prerogative writ, that stays in too. All right, consent agenda. All items listed with an asterisk are considered to be routine by the Township Committee and will be enacted by one motion. There'll be no separate discussion of these items unless a committee member or citizen requests, in which event the item will be removed from the general order of business and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda. Do I have a motion to...
I want to pull out the results of bond anticipation.
Where, which one, what number?
New business number 1.
Okay.
And I
I
would
wish to
ask,
recuse myself.
What's that about?
I want to recuse myself.
And I would ask that item number 4 be removed. It's
Item
ready.
For a new...
Under new business, the resolution to approve the.
Oh, the poll, okay, is that...
farm. There's a change in that,
Okay.
and it'll be brought forward at the next.
All right.
meeting.
Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda with the removals of number 1 and 4 under new business?
so moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call, or is there...
Yes, that's a move.
There's money in that, yes.
Mr. Burton?
Yes.
Mrs. Duffy?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Trapello?
Yes.
Mayor Ford?
Yes. Comments from the public for items listed on the agenda only?
Paula Baldwin, Morningstar Road, Readington. This is concerning an item that's listed on the consent agenda. At the January 4th meeting, Mayor Fort, you made nominations. and Ms. Duffy seconded them. Ms. Duffy made a motion to accept the nominations, and Mr. Smith seconded it. However, Mr. Smith's wife was one of the nominations, so at the last meeting, Mr. Smith rescinded that nomination. However, nobody seconded it. I realize it's procedural, but if somebody sues the Board of Health, that could be an issue. So I believe that either Mr. Roten or Mr. Trapella would have to second it, or you have to pick somebody else.
All he asked was that he abstained from that voting. He voted for the nominations, but abstained from voting for his wife.
So then who voted for his wife then?
The other ones that were listed on that roll call.
Well,
for
Mr.
that
Roten,
resolution. From the first meeting.
yeah,
That's the way it was.
when you moved it to the floor, Mrs. Duffy approved the nomination, and and then Mr. Smith seconded it.
So you're saying, but he can second the whole list with and abstain from voting for his wife. Sharon, do you want to address that?
I think you could, yeah.
So then who would second Mrs. Albrecht's?
He only abstained from that vote,
Okay,
not everyone else.
so does somebody have to second it?
I don't think that they do. It's not a separate vote, he just abstained from her.
Okay. All right, I'm not sure about that, I'll look that up. Thank you, Mr. Smith, for looking into donating your salary. I do appreciate that.
Should be correction, I'm not donating, I just asked to have my salary reduced to $1.
Oh,
So it stays
okay.
within the township budget.
Okay, I want to thank you for that.
Any other comments from the public on anything on the agenda? Okay. We're way late. Okay, public hearing. Do I have a motion to close the regular meeting and open the public hearing?
Now, Mayor, don't we have one item on the consent agenda that was removed that needs to be?
Well,
addressed?
they're under new business. They're later. They're two
Okay,
new
I'm
business.
sorry, thank you.
Okay. Do I have a motion? Oh, all right, who gave it?
I moved it.
And a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. This is an ordinance amending the bond ordinance numbered 04-2006 of the Township of Readington in the County of Hunterdon, New Jersey, finally adopted February 21st, 2006, in order to amend the section 20 costs. So, are there any comments from the governing body? This is ordinance 01-2016. Are there any comments from the governing body?
Just one, Mayor, at the last, when we introduced this, I expressed a concern over one of the issues that I had with the ordinance, and on advice of council, I believe that item is addressed to my satisfaction.
All right, thank you. Any others from anybody? All right, are there any comments from the public? I'm going to sneeze at some time fairly soon. Any comments from the public? Okay. Do I have a motion to close the public hearing and open the regular meeting?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, do I have a motion to adopt this ordinance?
I'll make a motion to adopt the ordinance.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call, Rita?
Mr. Burden,
Yes.
Mrs. Duffy,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Trapello,
Yes.
Mayor Porter.
Yes. The only correspondence is a letter from New Jersey American Water Company. I don't think it asks us to do anything. Old business, a request from the Readington Community Theater requesting financial support financial support to promote performing arts.
Mayor Porter advised today that they would not be here. They will submit a letter. we got a phone call this afternoon.
Okay. All right, now, new business. Okay, the results of the bond anticipation note sale.
Yes, I wish I'd already showed that I recused myself. I work for a trading firm that whose business is bonds, but many of these companies are customers of my company, so I should not participate in this session.
All right. Is there any discussion? Shalita, do you want
Really, these are just the results.
to? Okay, and we, yeah.
I
Okay.
have a question since it's open. The 25.7 million, that includes the bond for the airport, Solberg, eminent domain case,
This-
21.7? What's the other one?
It's probably small notes that, short-term lending. I don't have the list with me, Sam, but I can certainly give it to you tomorrow. I don't have it with me.
Sam, these would basically be things that we've been carrying as short-term debt that were approved. Some of them could go back a number of years perhaps on various land acquisitions or even capital
Capital,
improvements.
okay.
I just wondered, was it land or was it equipment or?
It could be.
It's probably a combination of
It's
both.
probably a combination.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can get you the list tomorrow, but
Right.
I don't have it with me.
And my other concern was, this is good for a year.
Correct.
And after this year, then I understand we can't do this.
We would probably go
Yeah.
before local finance board if needed, if we needed to extend it, but it would be at its term, yes.
Are we making any plans for what we're going to have to do in case?
Well, I think we are making
Not
plans,
ready.
but we need to know first if we're going to need to make plans. Okay, yeah, we definitely have it in our head what we would have to do. We've spoken to Bob's attorney about the risk.
All right. What do we do on it? Just move to approve the result?
Really, it's just a report.
So we don't
It was
need
awarded.
any action, just.
Well, you do need, because it was on the
Because
agenda.
it's
it was
consent,
part
all
of
right.
Consent, I would do a motion.
Do I have a motion to accept the results?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I guess roll call.
Mr. Burton?
Yes.
Mrs. Duffy?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
He's recused.
Oh, he recused himself.
You are.
Sorry. Mr. Capella
Yes.
and Mayor Ford.
Yes. All right, come back. All is forgiven. All right, we also pulled the resolution to approve acquisition of a development easement held by the county of Hunterdon on a coal farm, block 67, lot 12. Sharon, you want to address this?
The reason it was pulled is because I'm still going back and forth with the SABC on some language in there regarding the uses in the exception area, so I'll have them for you next time. And so it's just offered today.
All right. Administrators report? You don't have anything. Attorneys report? Engineers report?
2016 road projects, I gave those to the committee, so everyone can take a look at the roads, we can get them figured out. That culvert work near the Merck entrance is not going to start now until June 1st. They have DEP restrictions on that stream, they can't get in there, so they'll start that in June.
Well, better late than never. I'm still going to be out there with balloons when they finally start on that.
Me too. And it's
that's
been 2 or 3 years.
Oh, I think it's
Trying
been more than that. Yeah, it's been flooding for more than that. so-
Right, but since they wanted to do this work, it's been 2 or 3 years.
Okay,
That's all I have.
all right. It's the new Rob.
Oh, yes. The new
You're
year.
back. All right, committee reports. John Broughton, Engineering, Roads, Maintenance and Recycling, and
Yeah.
Library Services.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd just like to take a few moments to acknowledge and congratulate and thank our DPW crew during the snowstorm that happened last week of epic proportions. I think they did a fantastic job. If you were out at all during the day on Saturday, you knew what the conditions were. They were not good to say the least. And I just thought the whole team did a fantastic job in keeping our roads open and getting them open as quickly as they could. So I'd just like to say thank you to all those folks, a lot of hard work. And I would ask anybody, if you see your folks out there, give them a wave and let them know that they're doing a good job.
They also like cookies.
Perform well.
I have to say, you know, on my mayor's email and on my BA Fort Readington email, I have, it tends to be sort of like the complaint department, and this time it was the praise department. It was really amazing to look at the people. You know, people usually say, okay, the roads are clear. These are people who really, I got a lot that recognized how exceptional these guys did, and I've been forwarding it to them along with a very large batch of chocolate chip cookies, but they worked their tails off, and they did. Out of all of the praise, I got one complaint that somebody couldn't dig their mailbox out. So I haven't heard much in the way of my mailbox got knocked down, and I've heard how much better this town was. People commuting to places, how they were so impressed with what we did. So, you know, next time you see a public works truck, give them a thumbs up.
Mayor, can I say something?
Sure.
During the snowstorm, I got stuck with my radio car, and Mr. Broughton stayed with me for 1 hour while Steve DeBray came up. We shoveled. I mean, he really helped a lot.
Good.
Just want to let him know.
That's why we keep him.
Oh, okay. Just want to let you know. I want to give him his just due.
Good. We'll make him cookies too. All right. And Elizabeth Duffy, Planning Board, Farmland, Open Space Preservation, Land Projects, Social Services.
I don't have anything this time.
Betty Ann Ford, his Pres, Museums, Zoning, Construction Code Department, Emergency Services, Recreation, Planning Board. First of all, our emergency services did a great job too. I want to give a real kudos to Joel Kerwin, who spent Friday planning for what would happen if John Anderson failed us, and we needed to warn people. There were notices going out. He worked very hard. I know our fire companies staffed their buildings as warming centers. I'm sure you guys did too, the squad. So somebody said to me the other day, we were talking about what happens in Readington that you don't see, like the planning and everything. And somebody said to me, it's sort of like Disney World. And I said, well, that's the first time anybody had ever compared Readington to Disney World to me, but I understood what he meant. He meant that a lot happens that people don't know about, but it's all good. So anyway, the museum is having an open hearth cooking thing on Sunday with chocolate from 1 to 4 at Bowman Stickney on Drayhook Road. Recreation, we met, I told you last time, but I'll say it again, we met with people who are interested in continuing the dog park. We're putting a dog park committee together who will operate under Gabrielle and Recreation. Recreation has offered to do all the publicity and everything, so we're really going to go forward with this. All credit to Nancy and Kevin, Lake Kevin Devine, for their enthusiasm and hard work in putting it together, and they made it into something that people want to continue. So that's going forward, and that's all I have. Dan?
Nothing for me this time.
Sam?
At the Board of Health meeting, and Christina keep me honest on this, but the state legislature passed a bill and sent it to Chris Christie regarding moving the smoking age, or being able to buy cigarettes to make it at 21 or older. And it was vetoed by the governor. And the Board of Health is looking to send a letter from them to the governor telling them that they think that he should back this amendment by the state legislature. And I said I would bring it to the township committee and see if we want to join in having such a letter.
Should we mail it to New Hampshire? Sorry. Couldn't resist. I'll be in.
I certainly would.
Yeah, yes, absolutely.
So maybe
We need a motion to join in supporting the Board of Health in writing a letter to the governor. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion
Do I have a second? Go ahead.
that we write a letter supporting the Board of Health and to Governor Christie, asking him to reconsider his veto on smoking
Are you-
21 age.
Are you proposing a second letter or combining a joint letter?
A second letter.
Okay. All right, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Sam, do you want to sort of craft that a little bit and Vita can polish it and send, do you want to sort of include what was part of the discussion, or is there anything special you want to put in?
I'll work with Christina and we'll get up.
Okay, all right,
How's that?
sounds good to me.
Thank you.
All right, comments from the public?
Paula Baldwin, Morningstar Road. I know that you just moved to take another $3 million to pay the Solberg's legal fees. I reviewed some of the court information regarding that case. I just wanted to read it back to you because I'm not sure that everybody is aware of the entire history. This is from the appellate court dated August 19, 2009. And in that opinion, the court said, and I quote, "At a public meeting on February 6, 2006, the committee rejected a suggestion from Susie Solberg Nagel that the matter be submitted to a professional mediator and introduced a $22 million bond ordinance to raise funds to acquire the airport property." Then moving on to Judge Armstrong's decision dated May 4, 2015, the court also received the testimony of Mr. Frank Gaddy, the township committee man since the 1990s, and its mayor in 2005 when a bond ordinance was initially introduced and subsequently withdrawn. His final testimony insight was that, to the best of his knowledge, Readington Township made no effort whatsoever between February 2006 and the time eminent domain was enacted to negotiate with the Solberg family. The court went on to say that this court holds the legislative findings of the report of the New Jersey General Aviation Study Commission to be especially persuasive. That was Public Law 93, Chapter 336. The report highlighted several municipalities within the state with particular airport conflicts. Under a subsequent entitled Bad Relations 2 Case Studies, it addressed Readington Township and Solberg Airport, which was perhaps the worst relationship this commission found. The commission heard the testimony of the Readington Township mayor and of the Readington Township administrator and chief financial officer, each of whom, quote, appeared separately demonstrated an adherence to disinformation fostered by the municipality, unquote. The commission found the testimony in both instances to be, quote, uniquely stunning, unquote. Judge Armstrong added in his conclusion that the Supreme Court recognized that in the condemnation field, the government has an overriding obligation to deal forthrightly and fairly with property owners. Moreover, in exercising their powers of eminent domain, government entities must strictly comply with the rules and statutes governing condemnation. The official decisions illuminated in this opinion demonstrate evasive and subversive behavior designed to thwart the democratic process and which exceeded the perimeters of proper procedure in eminent domain. Instead, Readington engaged in an elaborate public agitation effort to incite voter opposition, which it then channeled into an opaque condemnation action under the guise of the necessity of the contiguous greenway. The judge further went on to say that the municipality shall refrain from and rebut any misinformation promulgated on the issue before it, especially where such misinformation may unduly influence the voting public. This direct approach to condemnation will prevent officials from engaging in the subversive behavior so apparent in this case. In the case of Solberg Hunterdon Airport, this court finds that the stated purpose of the condemnation was a subterfuge. Its sole purpose was to prevent the expansion of the airport under the pretextual banner of open space policy. The complaint was therefore presented in bad faith and is hereby dismissed pursuant to the law of eminent domain in New Jersey. So I wanted to bring to your attention on page 53 of his ruling, the judge did note that nothing in this court's decision would preclude the parties from reaching a just accord concerning the development rights by employing the time-honored process of willing seller, willing buyer, and agreed upon price. I want to call that to your attention because there has been a lot of misinformation, and to spend at this point over $4 million in legal fees, plus whatever the township spent. I'm sorry, there was $1 million the township already spent. The $3 million to reimburse the Solbergs, and then another, it's got to be at least $3 million by the township. What a waste of money with nothing to show. All you had to do was sit down with the family, at least attempt to sit down and reach some agreement. Well, these aren't my words. These are the judge's words. Nobody reached out to the family and sat down with them. They weren't invited to the meeting with the DOT. Not all members of the family. You can shake your head, but that's what the judge found. Those are his findings. So I would hope at this point, perhaps you could sit down with the family and try and come to some agreement.
Thank you, Mrs. Baldwin. I need to address this a little bit, though, because I have heard this. I have been part of negotiations, very sincere and very serious negotiations over the years, as have been previous committee members. And actually, over the past couple of years, I have heard you and your husband speak of negotiating with the Solbergs, and I took it upon myself without any contact. Yes, I didn't ask other committee members if this was okay. I called your husband and I said, bring us something. You think you can negotiate? You think there's room? Bring us something, because we are always ready to negotiate. And I haven't heard back, and I don't know if you want to address anything further on that, or
I don't know.
we believe we have given all we can. We have negotiated. We're always ready. We are ready for them to come to us with a proposal, a settlement proposal. Bring it on. We will cheer. But our attempts at negotiating up to this point have been fruitless. So bring it on.
I don't believe that my husband has any authorization to negotiate with the family.
I said bring us a proposal. Talk to them and bring us a proposal.
The Blaustein School offered to mediate. I believe the cost was $10,000, which is negligible considering what's been spent. It's not, you are our elected representatives. You are who should be negotiating with the family.
And your elected representatives have negotiated extensively with the Solberg family. There were negotiations at the end of 2005 with the Solbergs and Mr. Larry Berger. There were negotiations in late 2006. There were negotiations court ordered with Judge Allison Accurso in 2010. And there were negotiations in 2014 with a retired Judge Berman. None of those negotiations were successful. And to say that the township and your elected officials have not attempted to negotiate is simply not accurate.
Well, I'm going on the findings of the two judges.
And there are many, many things in Judge Armstrong's decision that are not accurate. That is among one of the things that is not accurate.
His decision is what it is. So my point is,
his decision does not change the facts, Mrs. Baldwin. I just told you when the negotiations took place and who they took place with.
You negotiated after you had already passed a condemnation ordinance against the family. That statute required good faith negotiations. There was a lot of misinformation put out by this municipality. So I am asking that in light of the recent rulings and now that all this money has been spent and with nothing to show for it, that you again attempt to negotiate and perhaps reach out to the Blastine School. And since you don't feel that you can obtain any results in negotiating, perhaps reach out to somebody else.
Well,
Thank you. That's my comment.
Anybody else? Height goes first. That's what's
I'd like to.
Do you want to identify?
I'm from Readington Township. She said there were substantial negotiations with the Solberg family. Prior to 2004, there were informal negotiations. Unfortunately, there was no settlement. As Ms. Duffy said, Judge Armstrong did get quite a few things wrong, and this is one of them. I'd like to quote something that Rita Mae Brown said in a book called Sudden Death. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, but expecting different results. We tried. We made an earnest attempt to negotiate. It was fruitless. I'd also like to say that thank you, Ms. Fort, for the dog park. If it wasn't for you, you wouldn't be thanking the Vines right now. That was just about defunct at the end of the year, and you brought that back. So thank you very much.
We're working on it. John, my hero.
John Anderson, Jersey Central Fire and Light. Just wanted to stop by and let you know that we're getting ready to start tree trimming on our Stanton substation. That's located out on Route 31, right at the intersection where Foothill Road is. The reason why I wanted just to bring it to your attention specifically tonight is that beginning in 2016, the Board of Public Utilities has brought modified specifications to our line clearance program. Simply put, from the substation out to the first protective device is going to require the removal of any vegetation, tree limbs, etc. that's on top or over the conductors. So as it's referred to as conductor to sky clearance. So I bring it to your attention simply because in Readington Township, it's Route 31, but then one of the circuits, in fact, does go across onto Foothill Road and takes Foothill Road east to Stanton Road, make a right onto Stanton Mountain, and that's where this lockout zone, as it's referred to, ends. So that portion of Foothill, Stanton, and Stanton Mountain, right at that area is part of that lockout zone. Now, I have to admit, I have not gone out and driven that myself to see what's involved. But again, it just simply means that if there are trees that have portions of their crown on top or overhanging the conductor, would be subject to being pruned back.
Boy.
That is, it actually was really coming from, it's not just Jersey Central, this is in the state of New Jersey, so the other utilities are doing the same thing.
Foothill is this cave under big, beautiful trees. Does that mean a lot of them are going to have a crew cut, huh?
Yeah, it would mean that if there's whatever portion of that crown that's extending up and over our conductors and into the street would be pruned back.
Okay.
It's going to be starting in approximately 2 weeks, this work. And I believe they're starting the pre-planning as we speak right now. So these residents will be spoken to, door hangers will be left.
And we'll hear about it.
But we'll work together, we'll figure it out. But as I said, this is not something that is just JCP&L. As I said, this is a new initiative. You know, our tree pruning cycle is on a 4-year cycle in the state of New Jersey. So this is the first year of that cycle. So we'll be doing this over the course of the next 4 years.
Well, thank you for giving us a heads up.
Yes, my pleasure.
John, does it include Drake as well? Drake Hook Road? According to the tree trimmer that came in my office today, he mentioned Drake as well.
All right, I'll
I'm
double.
not positive, you know, he had it right because you had the maps laid out.
Okay. I'll double check the maps.
Okay. Okay, just so you.
All right.
Again, and please take my thanks and a lot of people's thanks back to all of you folks. This was, you know, you come up here a lot and we yell at you, and it's nice to be able to say thank you, good job.
Well, thank you, I appreciate that.
Yeah,
As I
we
said,
didn't lose power in the snow, that was great.
Yeah, that's what I said. I didn't get one complaint. I mean, Readington stayed on.
yeah. And as I said, I mean, it's really, and it's in no small part to a, you know, very vigilant line clearance program. It's simply, I mean, you have, you know, obviously trees in and around the conductors, you get wind and you get snow, the tree limbs come down, hit the power lines, take down poles, et cetera. So, it's not, as I said, it's like, you know, we all love our trees and we, you know, it's a very public area, but you gotta strike the proper balance between keeping the lights on and keeping our trees.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments from the public?
Richard Allen, Hillcrest Road, Readington Township. I'd just like to take this opportunity to thank the committee for passing the bond ordinance this evening. There are probably a lot of people in the audience, or some people in the audience, who don't realize what you did. But what you did there was saved Readington taxpayers from getting a tax increase to pay a sum of money to the Solberg people right now. And I think what you've done is commendable, so thank you.
Thank you.
I've just added that what we did, which is extend the pain.
Sorry.
I don't think we extended any pain. We came up with a method of paying a bill that is due that caused the township not to raise taxes and not to incur additional debt. That's what we did.
And if we should choose to appeal and win, that money it's ours, it comes back. So it's paying to be determined whether it's permanent, it stays that way or not, so. All right, comments from the governing body, we've sort of all commented on a lot of things already. All right, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. We out of here. Thank you.